In a previous video, we made the beams and the posts. So now that we have the structure for our pergola, let's go ahead and add the rails that go across and provide the shade. So I'm going to show you, we could draw them in the same way that we did earlier, but I am going to show you a different method. That way it'll teach you how to navigate in 3D. So let's go ahead, let's go back and set the working plane. My rails are going to go in the opposite direction of the beams that I already made. So I want to set the working plane in the direction of this face of the post. So I'll go ahead and set that. And then I'll come get the rectangle tool. I'll just click and drag there. And I'm starting at the bottom of the post this time. And I will go ahead and change the height. Let's do, I think, 6 inches for this. So just hit enter twice, and now I have my rectangular shape. For the width, I'm going to go ahead and change that to 6 feet. That looks good. And then the reason that I drew it on the bottom is that I wanted you to be able to see that when you have the selection tool active, you can come and you can hover anywhere in a 3D drawing. And down here at the very bottom of the screen, it'll tell you what the X, Y, and Z values for your cursor are. And so when I hover up here at the top of the beam, it's telling me that the Z value is 8 feet tall. So now I can go and do a 3D move for this new rail that we're working on right now. So to do that, I would go up to the Modify menu, Move, and then scroll all the way over to Move 3D. And then I can change my offsets here. So the Z offset that I'm going to want for this is 8 feet. Click OK, and now it's moved my shape, my rectangle, up 8 feet in the drawing. So just like the beam previously, I'm going to go ahead and extrude this. So Control E is the shortcut for extrude. 2 inches is fine. Click OK. And now I can come to the right view. I had a little bit of a malfunction with my view, but I've got that fixed. And so now I'm just looking at this from a right view. That way I can go ahead and make some of those edits that we did to the beam with the rail. So go ahead and it's already in extrude. Let's quickly create our symbol. So modify, create symbol. Then we're going to call this one rail. Click OK. OK. And then double click on that. It's going to take us back to the extrude if we tell it that we want to edit the 3D component. And then double click on it one more time to get to that original rectangle. And then we're going to get the polyline tool again, zoom in here on the corner, and just go ahead and create another shape very similar to the first. Now I have my polyline. I'm going to use the mirror tool. Now I've got 2 polylines. I'm going to click select all so that I have the beam and the 2 areas that are going to be clipped selected. Right click, clip surface, then go ahead and delete those polylines that I used for the shape, exit the extrude, exit the symbol, and now I have my first cross beam, my first cross rail. So the next tool that we're going to look at is going to be the duplicate along path tool. It's over here in the basic tool set, and it's actually called the Move by Points tool, but you can duplicate with this tool. So let's go ahead over here where it says number of duplicates. Let's go ahead and tell it that we would like 9 duplicates. And I'm going to show you how this works multiple times just so that you can see what all of the different modes do. So to get started, I think what I'd like to do is just duplicate that rail that we just created so that I can show you the first mode. So come back over here to the Move by Points tool, and the first mode is just the Move mode. And so I am going to click once to start the reference point, and then the second click is going to be the spacing between the first and second rail. So now I should have a total of 10 of these rails now. Now you can see over here, so there's this little line in the mode bar. In this second section, there's the object retention mode, and basically all that said was keep the original. And so that's why we have 10 now, is because the retention mode was set. So let's look at the second mode right here, which is the distribute mode. And I'm going to leave the duplicate number as 9. And basically what's going to happen now is I'm going to highlight the rail that I want to duplicate and move. And then I'm going to go back to my Move by Points tool. And so the first click is going to start it. And then the last click is it's gonna space between that first and last click. And so that's a good way to kind of evenly space them if you know where your starting and ending points are. So for this last mode that we have, I'm just gonna go ahead and come back to this original set that we worked with. And I'm gonna delete most of these. And let's go back to the Move tool. So I'll select, and I should show you this. So with the Move tool active, if you hold on Alt, it'll allow you to select the object that you're trying to work with. So for the second mode, this is the reference point mode, and essentially it just allows you to move by offset. So let's say that I wanted to move. Yeah, you can't duplicate, you can only move. So let's say that I wanted this first rail to be in the middle, between where the first and second rail is. So what I would do with the first rail selected, I would come over and click on the second rail, and then I would click a second time on the object on the first rail, and then it's going to tell me what the distance between those two rails are. If I want it to be in the middle, I'll just simply go 6 inches and click OK, and then it will move it closer. So that's one way to accurately move something. So we're going to go ahead and do that one more time because I want to show you another feature that you have for navigating in 3D. Over here in our 3D modeling tool set, there is this 3D locus tool. If I click on that, it allows me to place a 3D reference anywhere, and it's not, yeah, it is a 3D reference anywhere in the drawing, and so I use it a lot to record a Z value that I know I need to keep going back to in my drawing. So if I hover over the corner of the rail that I drew earlier, you can see in the lower left hand of the screen that that Z value is at 8.5 feet. So go ahead and I will just place the 3D locus along that line. If I had just placed it anywhere in the drawing, it would have gone down to 0. But you can see over here, because I used the smart cursor and I dragged it that way, over here you can see that for the Z value, it's at 8.5 feet, which is correct. So now let's go back to our Move by Points tool. And using the Alt key, we're going to select this original beam over here. And then we have our reference point mode selected. So the first click is going to be the reference point, which is our 3D locus. So click that first. And then I'm going to click the center, which you can't really see, the midpoint of my rail. Click that, then it's going to tell me what the offset value between those two distances are. So I'm going to go ahead and just divide that by 2, and then it's going to move it halfway towards that locus point. So that's a feature. I don't use it very often, but if you needed to make a really accurate move, that would be a good choice. And so at this point in the assignment, I would say go ahead and just select the locus and the rails that we were playing with over there, but that looks like a pretty good pergola at this point. So assignment complete.